Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to us here on Speaking of the Devils. I'm your host, Ryan Novozinsky, joining you from UBS Arena, the site of the Devils. I can't believe I'm about to say this. 9-0 defeat tonight at the hands of the New York Islanders. A loss that is embarrassing. Doesn't even scratch the surface of what that loss was tonight. It was mega embarrassing. It was way stronger words, way stronger, more explicit words that we could use to on this here family friendly program to describe what went down here in Elmont, New York tonight. The Devils dropped to 22-19-2 on the season. They are 14-18-2 since that 8-game winning streak earlier this year. Remember that, because that sure seems like a long time ago now. And this to be the response after the ugly game that they had just a few nights ago versus the Carolina Hurricanes, during which your rival not only beat you, but you handed them 2 own goals, and one of your young players, one of your highest paid players, I think your highest paid player, gets booed relentlessly by your fans. That this was the response to that tells me that something is seriously, seriously rotten in that room, and heads need to roll as a result. Tom Fitzgerald needs to go. The finger needs to start being pointed at Sheldon Keefe as well, too. But I can't talk about any of this till I know that we are live. So somebody let me know in the comments if we're live, and I will go and start. But before I start, I have to talk about our friends at New Spine and thank them for sponsoring us here on Speaking of the Devils. With 7 locations, they are New Jersey's leading institute for minimally invasive spine surgery. Live your best life pain-free. Visit New Spine. That's nu-spine.com to find a location near you. Do not forget that dash in the middle, nu-spine.com. Very important. All right. Somebody needs to go tonight. Somebody needs to get fired tonight. I should be covering a coaching firing. I should be covering a GM firing. That's been tomorrow, tonight. Sorry, and that what I need to be covering is it tomorrow. Tom Fitzgerald is obviously the main culprit here. He can't make a trade because he hamstrung this team with far too many no move clauses. He I mean, gosh, there's so many other things. Like he's the one who questioned at the beginning of training camp whether there were holes on this team or not. He almost scoffed at the idea that there were holes on the team when I asked him about that. The obvious needs being a top 6 scoring wing and a third line center. So he scoffs at that. And at the beginning of the season, it looks like he kind of would have the last laugh in that regard by just by the sheer fact that they went on an 8-game winning streak. But as we've seen, reality has now set in for the New Jersey Devils. All these holes, all the detriments on this roster, they are now on full display, and that was on full display tonight. They can't finish. Their goaltending stinks. They extended that goaltender who stinks, and you're not going to get out of that contract because you gave him a very restrictive no-move clause, and quite frankly, his contract in and of itself is a no-move clause because he's going to make $6 million per. So that's not great. Beyond that, I mean, look, you've got 3 GMs across the National Hockey League. Not to do the whole media thing, but you got 3 GMs across the National Hockey League, including the Winnipeg Jets GM. Winnipeg's at the bottom of the NHL, near the bottom of the NHL standings right now, at least in the Western Conference, and they're all speaking. They're all taking accountability for it. Tom Fitzgerald continues to duck us. I know several local media members have put in requests to speak for him. I myself have put in 3 requests since October 1st. All of them have gone unanswered, gone unresolved. And all the while, Fitzgerald is peacocking while the team is on an 8-game win streak and doing, parading around with the national media folks and doing interviews with them and just not explaining himself to you guys, the fans, for this terrible, dreadful product that is now on the ice. The other finger that needs to be pointed at is Sheldon Keefe. Okay, he needs to be wondered about. I think that's a little too easy, of an excuse. Keefe should not be the first one to go before Fitzgerald. That's for damn sure. But I feel like the fastest way to get a little bit of a sugar buzz from a team is if you fire the coach. And let's be real, his system hasn't exactly meshed well with this Devils team. He had a lot of analytical success, 5-on-5 success in Toronto. There's no doubt about that. It hasn't necessarily translated to his time in New Jersey. And I know there's been a big focus on the two-way game, and that's fine. But the Devils don't need to be a two-way force. The Devils need to really, lean into their skill. That's what made them successful in 22-23. They haven't been able to mimic that success because, and that's been a huge problem. That's been a huge, huge, huge problem for this New Jersey Devils team. They've got no finishers. They've got crap goaltending from a guy that's gonna, is here for 3 more years, 2 more years after this one. Tonight was an abject disaster, and heads need to roll as a result of it. Again, I should be covering a coaching firing or a GM firing in the morning. That's how dire things have gotten. I look, the Devils right now, as it stands, they are 6-12-1 in their last 19 games. Again, I'll mention it off the top of it. I mentioned this at the top of every episode. Since the 8-game winning streak, their record is 14-18-2. And by the way, they don't even have the health excuse to use anymore. And you should have gotten a boost from last game where one of your players is booed the entire time. You should have came in here, rushed onto the ice, and a rocket should have shot up your ass. Like that should have been the way the Devils came out, with guns blazing tonight, and they lose 9-0, and they still can't finish. And they're too passive at times, and they're. I mean, gosh, I know that the Islanders can take away the neutral zone and everything like that, but they shouldn't affect you this much. I mean, there was a sequence earlier in the game, I think it was like the first period, where I saw Dougie and Siegenthaler just try to, pass their way out of the defensive zone, try to get to the neutral zone, and they crept close to it, but it was just Matt Barzal, kind of defending them, and even just that one guy is limiting them from moving the puck. So things have just been a mess in that regard. It's been a mess all over, but I mean, look, the mistakes early on, I'm not going to go goal by goal tonight just because I would lose my breath after going goal by goal in a 9-0 blowout. But I mean, I don't even have notes beyond the first period. Matt Barzal scores. Cody Glass pulled up too far, missed his assignment. Not great. And this wasn't even the best position shot from Barzal. Markey just let it in. He played it far too over. You can't really pin this one all on him, but come on, again, you're a goalie that's expected to make those saves. Duclair, I mean, this was another one where it's 2 shots and 2 goals. That's just an abysmal start for him. Tough pinch by Pesce in the aisle zone there that led to the odd man rush. But come on, I know it's an odd man rush, but again, at some point you got to make a save there. And at some point after that, Sheldon Keefe cannot leave you out to. Hung to dry right there. He's got to get you out and understand that this is going to wreck a goalie's confidence, and that's a goalie whose confidence has been shot pretty much all year. But okay, that's it for the notes. Let's just get into your comments, guys, because I know that's what you guys are here for. And we started with our friends that sent in super chats. Thank you so much, everybody, for supporting us at this level. Very much appreciate that. If you guys, there's a little button down there. It's like a little $1. You guys can send your own super chats, and you would help us grow this channel and help me go on more road trips, which would be really fun. And we start here with Steve KS, who says he's quoting Tom Fitzgerald. We're not going to be a doormat anymore. Tom Fitzgerald, no Tom, but the Devils are the boot brush scraper next to the doormat. Harsh, strong commentary there from Steve. Well deserved. I mean, look, Fitzgerald's handed out the most no-move clauses in the league. He's tied for the most with the Hurricanes and the Edmonton Oilers. These are talking points we've gone over and over and over and over again for the past couple of weeks, and this is just one of those things that he's not able to get out of. And that he's the one that put the Devils in this position. He should, and they're hamstrung as a result of it. He should not be the one to pull them out of it. And I don't even care. Screw that argument where you're talking about, who's going to take over? There's no great interim options. Screw the interim. Who cares? This season is spiraling towards being a lost season. I don't care if you somehow make the playoffs here. Does anything inspire confidence beyond the 8-game winning streak earlier this year that this Devils team could go on a run, even if they make the playoffs? Do you really think that, even if they go on a run, can they beat a buzzsaw in Colorado? This season should be looked at as a loss, and there should be serious conversations about this core this offseason about having a major, major shakeup, because right now, in that room, it seems rotten. You cannot come out after a game like the last game and come out this one and lose 9-0. 9-0. That's unacceptable. But thank you again for Steve for supporting on the channel on that level. Dime Season. Oh my gosh, $20 super chat. Amazing. No comments, score speak for itself. Thank you for what you do, Novo. Keep up the great work and have a great evening. Well, I'm going to have a great evening if you guys keep sending us super chats like that. My God, man. Thank you so much, Dime Season. I very much appreciate that support. It helps us tremendously. You guys have no idea how much that helps. Look, the fact of the matter is, heads probably need to roll tonight. And again, like I asked Sheldon Keefe after the game straight up, do you think you've lost the room? He gave a long kind of, like long and winding answer about, how the process is still good and everything like that. And like the results tonight kind of were a little skewed, and it like how New York has 9 high danger chances. This is what he said. New York has 9 high danger chances. He's never really seen a game where 9 high danger chances and all 9 go in. So that's how he kind of chalked it up tonight. So he didn't exactly, directly answer the question there. And, when I asked Nico about it, when I asked Brendan Dillon about it, they seemed to kind of, they didn't really seem to agree that he's lost the room. But what are they going to say publicly right now? It just, like, the easy thing to do is look at the coach when something like this happened. Like when something like this happens, when a loss like this happens, when the team is 6-12-1 in their last 19 games or something like that. I'm gonna find the exact 6-12-1's last 19 games. Something needs to happen. Something dramatic needs to happen, and whether that's the coach being fired, let's see. Because again, this tonight was ugly. This was the low point of all low points, and believe me, there's been a few this season. Let's keep going. Boker sends $5 and he says, fire Dave Rogalski now. Too many goalies under him. Start with Dave. Look, Bokers, let's speak candidly about Dave Rogalski. Like I feel like the connections that he has to some important people in the organization are probably what keeps him afloat there. And that obviously you can look it up and you can see the connections that he has with Brodeur and everything like that. I'm not the first person to make that connection. And not just that, he has a connection to Jake Allen too, going back to his days with the Blues. I think that the goalies, at least they say publicly that they respect him. But look, the results. If he had none of these connections, you would think with the results that he's had that he gets canned. Look at the other side of the ice, right? Sorokin is a goalie that went through a coaching firing this year. Islanders fired their goalie coach this year, and Sorokin's been tremendous after that. Rittich is another one, tremendous goalie this year. And a lot of that stems from the goalie coach getting fired. So I think nobody should be safe after this night. I don't even think I should be safe after this night. Let's be real. I mean, look, this is getting bad. This is getting bad. And I agree with you that it starts with Tom Fitzgerald, but you have to look at all these other guys too. You have to look at Sheldon Keefe. You have to look at the assistant coaches. You have to look at maybe Colleton, maybe getting the power play going and everything like that. Yeah, it's not great. Moving on. Oh, Poopy Duty. 11 says $5, and he says, what are the chances that nothing happens tonight? Also, am I crazy for thinking that John Chayka isn't a bad idea at this point? No, you're not crazy for thinking that John Chayka is a bad idea at this point. Anything is an improvement at this point. My want is Sonny Mehta from Florida. Florida's assistant GM. Got ties to New Jersey. Is just a, revolutionized some analytics in hockey. I think his background is really great. But John Chayka is not the worst option either. Anything is better than what you have right now, because we are at a point, and we're actually well beyond the point where Tom Fitzgerald is an advantage for this team. Tom Fitzgerald is a disadvantage for this New Jersey Devils team. I mean, the facts are just the facts. This is a guy that is now completely limited the team in what they can do. He can't even fix the mess that he created because of the mess of no trade clauses that he handed out. And I understand the counter argument to that is, oh, you're not going to get the guys to sign here unless you hand out these no move clauses. Well, winning cures all, guys. Winning cures all. And I think if you are a good team and a solidly built team, you can start winning in droves. And you have a good GM that can build a team like that, then you can start winning in droves based on, constructing a decent roster like that. And it shouldn't require all these no-move clauses. Like, why does Evgeny Dadonov, why does he have a no-move clause? He's here for 1 year. Why was Jonathan Kovacevic? Danny, correct me if I'm wrong. He's a full no move clause, right? Yeah, he has a full. He's looking it up to fact check it, but why does he need a full no move clause? Him having no move protection at all is ridiculous. Andre Palat at this juncture has a full no move clause. For that to come, later on in the contract, where Fitzgerald had to know that this was not going to age well, if it was even going to be good at all. Like when he signed Palat and he had to pivot to Palat. He had to know that at least in a couple years that it wasn't going to be good, and the results weren't good from the get-go there. Ghost Dog. Oh, man. Ghost Dog sends $5, and he says, congrats on Mestamaker. Little context for you guys. I went to Oklahoma State University. Oklahoma State University just got what I think is the best quarterback in the transfer portal, Drew Mestamaker. He's going to change things. Thank you so much, Ghost Dog. I appreciate you sending that in and supporting the channel on that level. Steve Woj just sends $1 to be supportive. Thank you so much, Steve Woj. I appreciate that. You guys are amazing. Hold on. My man Daniel Lamoya from the Hockey Writers is passing me a note. Here's Kovacevic. Full no move clause for 2 seasons, 10-team list for the last 3. Fine. But even right now, like that's you're, oh my God, slipping Jimmy Nichols in the background. Yeah, I mean, for him to hand that out, like this is a guy that was kind of on the fringe anyway. Like they traded him as kind of like for a prove-it opportunity in Kovacevic, and for him to hand him out not only this deal that's going to restrict the Devils and they're going to have a hard time clearing the cap space. Yes, technically they can clear the cap space to and tinker with things LTIR wise and do that and get him back up to speed now. But at the same time, how sustainable is that going to be? Like yes, you might be able to get him in the lineup for a couple games, but how sustainable is that going to be long term? Like you have to make a move if you want to get this lineup shored up, and this lineup will not be shored up until they make some sort of major move. But I don't even know at this point if Fitzgerald should be allowed to make that move. Let's be real there, because anything at this point should be considered a panic move, and he shouldn't be the one to make it. Ghost Dog again. Don't you think Keefe let Markstrom out there to shine a light on how bad Fitz is/has been to highlight the biggest issue? I was texting with some of my coworkers during the game, and that's the exact analysis they had. That this was a message to the GM. Hey, this is the guy that you gave me. I'm going to show you just how bad he is. Okay. Again, that's putting words in Keefe's mouth. That's just interpreting things, and I'm not. It's not really fair for me to interpret exactly what's going on in Keefe's mind because I'm not a mind reader. But leaving somebody in for 9 goals against is wacky, is very wacky. And I know his defense is, oh, well, I don't want to get Allen in there, and there's no reason to put Allen in this game. That's what he said after the game. But it's like Markstrom seemed pretty darn. I asked Markstrom straight up after the game, like. Are you surprised that you weren't taken out? And he said, I like playing goalie and everything like that. But that's, he's basically said that's a question for another guy. So we'll see. Things are getting spicy there. Things are getting spicy. Oh, God. Seagot says, and I don't know how true this is, Money Puck has come and said that was the worst statistical game by a goalie in NHL history. Maybe, are you referencing something else? Let's go to the nerd stats, guys. Let's go to the nerd numbers, and then we'll go back to the Super Chats. Brendan Frey, 342. Let's go Islanders. Rangers suck. There you go. Brendan Frey, an Islanders fan, jumping in the stream. I appreciate that, my man. We move on. Endless Abe just sends $2 to be supportive. Thank you so much, Endless. Appreciate that, my man. How about this? How about we do, to get some more... Oh, my God. Daniel Amoya just showed me the nerd numbers for tonight, guys. They are worse than you might think. This is really bad. Okay, we are going to go to our friends over at Money Puck, and I'm going to put this on the screen right here so you guys can see. Let's go to Money Puck. Okay, hopefully there's no embarrassing ads on the screen right now. No, there's not. We're good. 9-0. I still can't believe that final score. Go away, highlights. I'm not allowed to show you. Thank God there's that little asthma commercial that's going on right now, so it's saving us from that. Jacob Markstrom tonight. Actual goals against 9, as you guys know, all too well. This is by far the worst number I've ever seen. Like, this is a bad number for, like, a goalie, like, 20 games in. He did this tonight, minus 7.57. If Markstrom, like let's see the goalies in total. I think, do they update? No, I guess we will have to wait till tomorrow for them to update it. But Markstrom has to be, at least with goalies, with, like, we'll go, like, 15 games played or something like that. I would imagine he's towards the bottom in goals saved above expected. Where's Marky? Where's Marky? Mark and the Funky Bunch. Oh my God. Okay, so he has minus 4.2 on the season. That's his goal save above expected. It's gonna drop. Like he had a worse goal save above expected tonight than he has numbers on the season. Like that is truly ridiculous. I cannot believe that. Let's move on. Sorry, go and find more of the super chats. Where was I? Endless Abe. Mike Bond. Keep up the good work. Forget Fitz. Is there any sense that ownership gives a single S about the status of the team? I think that Blitzer does. I mean, like I'm not saying Josh Harris doesn't, but Josh Harris is not as present as David Blitzer is. Let's face reality. When's the last time Josh Harris spoke about this team? The last time I saw Josh Harris was at the owners' meetings for the NFL when I covered the NFL, and we had a nice little chat. But look, the fact of the matter is, David Blitzer last spoke whenever they hired Sheldon. Not that owners need to speak all the time, and they usually don't, and that's fine. But your GM should at least, right? And he should answer for this mess, because this is now we're entering abject disaster territory. I do think Blitzer cares. I think Blitzer's at a lot of games, and I think he's very active in these games and everything like that. And I know he's calling Fitz all the time, not necessarily meddling by that's for sure, but I think ownership cares, but they can really prove if they care tonight by making some sort of change here. Major change is necessary. A major change is necessary, and that starts with the GM. And you might need to look elsewhere too. You might need to look at just the coach to spark some sort of thing. Although I think that's too. I think leaving Sheldon Keefe as the scapegoat here is way too easy for Fitz. I mean, we're entering like New York Giants territory there, where like Dayball shouldn't be the scapegoat. It should have been Joe Shane, but yet it was Dayball. It should be Tom Fitzgerald. He built this mess. He shouldn't be the one to fix it. And Sheldon Keefe, like, get a GM that can either work with you on your system and everything like that and build a team around your system if you think he's the right guy, or get a GM in here that can bring in his own guy and you roll from there. Endless Abe, but when will Nico Dawes be free? I don't know. I really don't. I mean, there was that report the other day about, KHL teams looking at him. He's on a one-way contract right now. Nico Dawes needs to, there needs to be a serious conversation. I understand that Markstrom has been fine lately. That's fine and well. But the Devils might need to like trade for an RFA this offseason. I know they have Gritsuk, but they need to trade for like an arbitration eligible RFA in order to, so they can open up another buyout window for Markstrom, because that is, that's just not going to age well at all. Steve Politti, I'm just sending you this $5. My lovely coworker, Steve Politti. I'm just sending you this $5 for your gas money to Pittsburgh. Thank you, Steve. I can't wait. I mean, if I'm going to Pittsburgh now, which is, chances might be good. I need to get Permanti Bros. That's my favorite restaurant in the world. So yeah, that's going to be fun. Jimmy, you want to do a carpool to Pittsburgh? Let's do it, buddy. Danny, you in? I have work. That's what Daniel always says. Let's move on. But thank you, Politti, for sending me that, my friend. I'm sure we'll talk about this in the group chat afterwards. This next one comes from Varu. Okay, Varu says, how is Jack's demeanor and body language behind the scenes? How is the locker room? Call me crazy, but I think we galvanized. We are an arm's length away from still from a divisional playoff spot. Look, let's answer the Jack's demeanor and body language behind the scenes. The true answer to this question is that we don't see Jack a whole heck of a lot behind the scenes, because the Devils haven't exactly made the locker room extremely open this year. That's for starters. Second thing is, when Jack does talk, I mean, we know Jack's interview style, like he can be a bit, testy and everything like that, and short, and when he doesn't like a question, it. But I'd say over and above all, like Jack, I give him credit for what seems like right now he's playing through it, and you can see that on the on-ice results too. I mean, he just does not look like himself. He hasn't taken a face-off, I believe, even still. Obviously, he's on the wing. Let's answer your next question. I mean, the locker room right now, they deny that Keefe has lost the room, or that anything's like really broken in the room. Brendan Dillon went on this big monologue after the game, just talking about, hey, the simple fact is that the room is fine. There's not anybody that's like an outcast on the team. He has had a lot of experience in the NHL. He's played over 1,000 games. He said that he's been on teams that teams have that outcast. Teams have groups of players where things just aren't meshing well. That's not the case with this Devils team. That's what Brendan Dillon says, at least. But I just look at the on-ice results, and I look at, the 6-12-1 record in their last 19 games. I look at the abysmal, the really bad record since their 8-game winning streak, I think 14-18-2. And I look at losing 9-0 to the Islanders as something is rotten in that room. Something is rotten in that room. And, to answer your, you say that you're calling yourself crazy that you think we can galvanize, that the Devils can galvanize, and they can still be in the playoffs this year. Yeah, there's no question about it. Like the Eastern Conference lends itself to a suck team coming into the playoffs and sneaking into the playoffs. But I think right now, as it stands, the Devils are exactly that. They're a suck team right now. 6-12-1 in their last 19, and they have the health now. You can't use that as an excuse anymore. So they haven't fully recovered from that, and that's not good. And I love how Stanley says, Vero, Veru, you're crazy. Sinful Skyline. Oh my gosh. Sometimes you're trying to sound these things out as you're doing it, and you see Sinful Skyline. Where is Tom Fitzgerald conference? Dude has been missing in action for months. At this point, I don't even want to hear from him. Just send him packing. I said this in the press box during the game. I was like, man, I think the interesting fact about, the interesting reality about this game is that, are we even going to get the Tom Fitzgerald press conference at this point? Or is he going to be sent, like you said, to use your terminology, Sinful Skyline, or is he going to be sent packing before then? Are we even going to get this Tom Fitzgerald, or is the next press conference going to be, Kate Madigan? Is it going to be Dan McKinnon? Is it going to be, do they hire someone from the outside and get him or her, in immediately? I don't know. Look, my outlet has put in 3 media requests to talk to Tom Fitzgerald. I have put in 3 myself. I think my coworker Steve Politi put in 1 himself. James Nichols here says that he's put in 2. So that's 4 between NJ.com. That's 2 between James Nichols. And every single one of them is just, in fact, there was one time where it was lined up and then it didn't come into fruition. Like, I had him scheduled, and then he was going to come on this show, and he just backed out, last second. The reasoning behind that was that, Fitzgerald had done too many media requests. Well, it's like, dude, here's the simple fact is you're doing the national media tour thing, and that's fine. But the national media guys are not going to be the ones that are at your press conference, when the chips are down and things get tough. And the chips are down, things are tough. And yet the Winnipeg Jets GM still did a press conference this week. Ottawa's GM, Steve Staios, is doing a press conference this week. Kent Hughes of the Montreal Canadiens is doing a press conference this week, or he did one this week. That's 3 GMs right there. There are probably more. I know Don Waddell keeps doing one-on-one interviews in Columbus. Tom Fitzgerald needs to speak. He needs to speak for this disaster he created, because this Devils team is a disaster. And the great dichotomy of this is that this juxtaposed to the preseason commentary, which is was Stanley Cup talk during the 8-game win streak. It was Stanley Cup talk for this Devils team. So yeah, not great. Moving on. And thank you so much for all the super chats tonight. This very supportive chat and all 200 live viewers. I love it, man. I love it. Where do I even start? I guess I'll start where we said that we're live. Guys, do keep sending in super chats, though. This will make my boss very, very happy. It makes me a very happy man, too. All right, we're going to start after we're live, so we're a little bit up to speed. Devils fan 118. I honestly don't think, and again, guys, if you want your comment read immediately, send me a super chat and I will read it right away. You send in $1, send in $100, send in whatever, and I will read it right away. And I will, you'll make me very, very happy, man. And I might do a giveaway. Maybe I'll just do a freaking giveaway. I don't know, a night on the town with me and Jimmy Nichols. He says, Devils fan at 118, I honestly don't think Keefe is the problem. I think that Fitzgerald is more the problem with Keefe than Keefe, but I don't think necessarily this roster. I think for what Keefe is trying to do, this roster isn't built for that, if that makes sense. He's trying to implore a two-way system with a bunch of guys that quite frankly, don't play the best two-way games. And even if they do play fine two-way games, they should be leaning into their skill a little bit more. So yeah, that's kind of my take on Keefe. Chico Tazo, 6'9", says, on a human level, I feel bad for Markey. In my opinion, it's on Keefe for leaving him in. Yeah, but as we talked about before, maybe that's a message from Keefe that's saying, like, hey, Fitzgerald, like, this is the goal you gave me. I'm going to leave him in when a disaster like this happens, which has been often this season. And 9-0 is ridiculous. I can't, like, my one coworker asked me after the game, he said, oh, how many empty netters were there? And I was like, none. There were no empty netters. Crazy. Devils fan 118, following up from his 1 point before, where it says his boss completely set him a failure, referring to Tom Fitzgerald. Yes, he did. Tom Fitzgerald not fixing the holes. Tom Fitzgerald scoffing at the idea that there are holes at the beginning of the season was laughable at the time, and it's even more laughable now. So yeah, that's not good. Steve Woj, players routinely out of position on the defensive end, night in and night out, is the definition of poor coaching. Yeah, look, and there's been a ton of odd man rushes this year. You saw the weird pinch from Pesci too, that led to the second goal against, I think. It's just been a hodgepodge. It's been a perfect storm of suck for the Devils this year, between the injuries, between the goaltending struggles, between the defensive woes at times. And what's head scratching about this is that during the 8-game winning streak, all of this seemed fine. Like, Brad Shaw was like the media darling. Brad Shaw was like the top of the world, and now it's like, is he going to be a one and done here? That's the question. Was it a mistake for them to move on from Ryan McGill? I don't know, but right now it's not looking great. Bokers, I think Markey showed frustration with Keefe not pulling in a politically correct way. I completely agree with that assessment, and I was the one that asked him the question. He basically said, yeah, I like playing goalie, but I asked him straight up, like, was he surprised that Keefe left him in the game? And he's like, I love playing goalie, but that's a question for somebody else. That's not a question for me. So I think so too. That's how I interpret it as well. Solid Vikes says Keefe left Markey in as a shot at Fitz. That seems to be the popular sentiment tonight. Keefe left it. Oh my gosh, everybody's saying the same thing. Keefe left him in as a big middle finger to his imbecile boss. You guys are funny. Danny Lawless, 6218. The Islanders didn't even play that well. They only put up a measly 3 field goals. Yeah, let's go to natural stat trick to see what the numbers were. I mean, the numbers tonight were just dominant in favor of the Devils, advance-wise. They had 69 attempts, nice, to 33 attempts against at 5-on-5. 5-on-5, 36 shots for, 23 against. In total, they had 44 shots for, 24 against. High danger chances were crazy, 13-5 in favor of the Devils. Expected goals percentage, 64.85. All of these stats are just a big way to say the Devils freaking dominated this game in every way but the scoreboard. But the fact that the scoreboard, who cares about the domination in that regard? The fact that the scoreboard says, 9-0 is just an ugly, 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 embarrassing fact. I see we have another super chat, so I'm gonna go favorite this one so we can go back in. Let's see. Justin A, is it more of a Keefe system problem or roster? It's way more of a roster problem in my opinion. And it's the simple fact is that the roster can't be tweaked with right now in any sort of meaningful way beyond like trading Dawson Mercer, which is like the only move that they could do right now. But the GM who caused all of these problems, caused the limitations of the roster, caused the fact that they can't move anybody and gave them these no move clauses and handed them out like Halloween candy. That's the problem. The problem is the GM. But the Keefe system doesn't really lend itself to this roster in the as well as I thought it would at least. Veru again. How do we feel about the idea that Dougie nixed a trade? Would it have, which would have cleared cap for Quinn? The locker room knows, and that's rotting in real time. Yeah, look, the thing there, Friedman came out and said, this is really like a question of like, who do you want to believe more? Like, I respect both these reporters. It's Greg Wyshynski. He had a report that said that the biggest issue for the Devils was the fact that they couldn't clear space before the Quinn trade, and then Minnesota swept in and made the trade. Okay, that's what happened. But you also have like the Elliot Friedman of Sportsnet coming out and saying that clearing cap space wasn't the issue. The Devils just weren't going to have the return. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. But look, it's no secret that Dougie has very likely, by all reports, has nixed a trade, which he has every right to do. But all the trade rumors and the pressure from the locker room cannot be helping his game, and his game has clearly, struggled as a result of that. Man, this next super chat, I'm not gonna read this one because it just gets into politics, and I'm just not gonna do it. So I reserve the right to not read a super chat if it gets into politics. But Andrew 9269, I appreciate you. Sending a super chat and supporting the channel on that level, but you got to understand that I'm not reading that one. Captain THC, the Islanders are not that good. Our goalie is Swiss cheese or Swedish cheese, and we can't score for S. Yeah, I mean, look, the Islanders didn't even play that well tonight. I mean, Nico Heischer's talking about after the game, like, the funny thing is, like, you look at the 9-0 score, and you might not, you might groan at somebody saying, "Oh, I didn't think we had our worst game tonight." He's kind of right. He's definitely right. Go look at the freaking money puck, deserve to win meter. I'm sure that's just like this in favor of the Devils, even with the 9-0, which is crazy and ridiculous. But yeah, do we have another super chat? I think we do. We have two more. Let's go. The Ocho Cinco boy. Consider the fact that Hughes and Hischier were gifted lottery picks. They weren't even decisions Fitzgerald had to make. Yeah, I'm of the belief that I mean, look, Fitzgerald was handed a golden opportunity on a silver platter, and the results that he's had having this core and inking them to, Fitzgerald's best move was inking this core to reasonable and valuable deals. That's great. That's fine. You'll give him props for that. But what he's done with this core, especially in his pivot away from leaning into the skill that brought that 22-23 team success, that's been his biggest downfall. And the opportunity that he had, the golden opportunity, he's done about just as bad as you could do with like this. If this was done like let's say this is like an NHL 25 simulation, if run this simulation with this Devils core 100 times, this is probably the worst possible outcome for them. Obviously there's other ones where they could crash to the bottom of the league and be like Buffalo, but this is pretty darn bad. Like the results that he's gotten, out of this core has just been laughable. Ghost Dog, 22. Thank you so much, Ghost Dog. You're sending a million super chats, and I appreciate that, my man. 22-year-old Luke Hughes takes question from the media immediately after a horrific night. Fitz hides while a disaster of his own making destroys the season. Yeah, great point there, Ghost Dog. We can't praise we can't praise Luke for doing that without, thumbing our nose at Fitzgerald and really ripping into Fitzgerald for not taking accountability for what he's done. This should be GM 101. Like, he should have gathered us, even if he doesn't want to do it on camera, gather us in a room and say, look, this is the state of the team address. A lot of teams do this. Again, 3 teams did this mid-season team address. Fitzgerald is at the top of that list of GMs that needed to do that. And he should have done it a while ago. Andrew 9269, thank you for sending $1, Andrew. I appreciate that, my friend. And then he asked a question, $2. They should trade the Hughes Bros too soft. Look, Elliot Friedman is openly wondering on 32 Thoughts, was that yesterday? What Bill Guerin is thinking of Devils fans booing Luke. I know that he says that, don't read into anything on this. This is just me saying this. But yeah, this is just for him to even come out and say that, it holds a lot of weight. So, not saying that they will trade the Hughes Bros. I think that, if you think Fitzgerald's on the hot seat now, that would be like a Luka Doncic trade level of bad. But things get ugly quick. And Quinn requested out of Quinn wanted out of Vancouver because Vancouver was a bad team. The Devils should no longer be looked at as a good, promising team. Let's just face it. They have done nothing to prove otherwise. Yes, they have great numbers, and the numbers of late have been really, really good. They're getting the chances. They're the process seems good, but process is nothing without results. process is nothing without results, and the results have not been there. Let's move on. Steve KS says, oh, thank you, Steve. Coffee money for the ride back home to Ewing. I actually moved. Funny thing about that, I actually moved to the hustling, bustling metropolis of Allentown, New Jersey. So, or I guess it's Upper Freehold, New Jersey. My dad will kill me if I say Allentown because it's technically not Allentown. But yeah, I'm back. I'm back in Upper Freehold now. So I moved out of my studio is gonna look a little different when you guys see me next. But it's all good. It's all good. Let's move on. I don't even know where the hell we were before. I'm just going to pick a random spot in the chat. But guys, keep sending us. Oh my God, we have another super chat. Or I think we do. No, we don't. You tricked me, guys. You tricked me. LOL. Charlie Borges Jr., you won't need to bring in people with no move clauses / no trade clauses if you develop talent, which is something Megan Duggan has not done since she was hired. Everybody on this staff should be questioned. Everybody on this staff needs to be, like it might be like, just fresh start, new regime totally in this across the building because things right now, scouting wise, like have not been great. Even like professional scouting, like some of the moves they've gotten, like some of the moves they've done, like Nason, you sign Nason and he's a complete black hole this year. And he has a pretty, sizey contract for the player that he is. Let's move on. Devs 1982, please check out Larry Brooks's article. Devils need a Buck Showalter-esque authority figure to restore success. Nothing has changed. Worthy read. I remember that story when it came out because it actually questioned at the time the lack of like media coverage from the Devils and how they're kind of an anomaly across all 4 major sports leagues in that they didn't have a reporter. Like this is before I, kind of came back and like from a major news outlet. So, I remember that. And the late, great Larry Brooks is always a great read. But I do recommend a lot of people, read that. And there's a story to be done on just how far the Devils have strayed. Not to say they need to, like, mimic, like, the Lou era and everything like that and, like, be all business and everything like that. But, like, the organization is definitely a shell of its former self. And that's in regards to how they operate and the success as well. Let's see. Moving on, Thomas Swigel 484 said, Novo curse. Yes, I'm a curse. I'm cursed. Like the Giants sucked, but I don't know that the Giants were, I don't know if the Giants would have been good even if I was there or not, as we could see this year. Jin 4576 minus 7.5 LOL. Yeah, the Markstrom, that's the Markstrom goal save above expected tonight. It is ridiculously bad. And somebody said that Money Puck said it was the worst in NHL history, but I don't know if I buy that. I mean, I don't know. It could be. Yeah. Okay. Daniel Moya says it was. Guys, we'll leave in a little bit here. We have a lot of people in the stream, so stop looking over at me. Like, what are you posting on Twitter right now? Sorry, I'm arguing with the Devils media contingency here. They're like wanting me to end the stream because they want to get home to their families or whatever. I mean, Nichols is over here like talking about, like I have to go home to my 2 kids. Try raising a dog, okay? Try raising a dog. Patrick Booth, does Markstrom not know he made mistakes? Why was he being so? Why are being so negative? Don't we have to be positive, or is that only the rule for the Hughes family? Yeah, that's. I mean, sensing sarcasm there, Pat Booth, but yeah, that's an interesting point you raised there. Captain THC, can Yegorov start playing in NJ like tomorrow? I think this was a good a day as any to run with a Yegorov story that I posted this morning. Go check that out if you guys haven't already. We're gonna go 7 more minutes. So that's okay with you guys. 7 more minutes. Okay, thank you, Daniel. We carpooled here today. Slippin' Jimmy. I should be on aux on the way home though. Mega Cookies 100. What has Brad Shaw done to this defense? McGill seemed like such a good coach. I agree, and it was a risk at the time to move on from McGill. And at first it seemed like a calculated risk. At first it seemed like a risk that would pay off because the 8-game win streak and everything like that. Now we're seeing the ugly side of that. And the odd man rushes have been far, plenty. They have been a plenty this year. I would love to see the results of that. See if there's any metrics that prove that. Stanley 62495. Novo wants Fitzgerald's head. LOL. Bless you, Ryan. Thank you, Stanley. I appreciate that. I think that, again, it's not I don't think any criticism that I've laid out tonight is unfair. I would say this to his face. I would say this to any Devils player's face. I think that this is the team right now, especially after talking about, Stanley Cup and everything like that at the beginning of this year. They're a failure. They're a failure right now. Charlie Borges just sends $1 to be supportive. Thank you so much, Charlie. Guys, we have 5 more minutes in the stream. Send any super chats if you guys want your question answered. Oh my gosh, I just almost broke my equipment there. I will answer your question if you guys send in a super chat, and I will, I will get it as quickly as possible. But until then, I'm just going to go through random things throughout. KDG 0376 Brodeur for GM. I think the voice should probably come from outside. I think Brodeur would do better than a lot of people think he would. But that's just me. Let's see. That wall in the background cutting into the bar of the drop ceiling is bugging me almost as much as the team. Is it in which wall? I guess that one? Okay. Sorry that bugs you, Stephen Woj. I'm very sorry, my friend. Let's see. I missed someone had a, let's see. Chris 3708 Novo, can you request to talk to ownership and bypass Fitzy? I think at this point I probably should. Maybe I'll put in a request for that tomorrow. Let's see. Endless Abe, 1000% agree with you here, especially since he sucks. If he was playing better, it wouldn't be as bad. I don't know who you're talking about, Endless Abe, so I'm going to move on. Stanley, we have owners, weird. It does seem like, again, it seems like at times the big criticism, and rightfully so, laid at the owners is that they are spread too thin. They have a lot of teams in their portfolio and everything like that, and that's fine. You're a businessman, more power to you. But yeah, I mean, I get the criticism laid at them that they don't care kind of thing. I think Blitzer cares, and I think Blitzer's a lot more present than a lot of people see. But yeah. Jay Carpenter sends just $1 to be supportive. Thank you so much, Jay. Appreciate that, my friend. Boker says, Monmouth County for the win. Let's go. Let's go, baby. We got Flyers fans in here. Joey Jones is saying, let's go Flyers. JMB says, Monmouth County here. Amazing. Okay. Let's see. More Monmouth County shout-outs. Charlie Borges, I'll be at the game Thursday. Drunk ducks at Promanti Bros. Charlie, reach out to me, tweet at me, and I will and we'll figure something out, man. If I'm at the game, I will, which I think at this point I probably have to. Yeah. JMB says Nemitz and Dadanov are skating tomorrow. That's what they apparently said on the broadcast. I didn't hear that, but I know that, I forget who tweeted that out, but yeah, I saw the tweet about that after. Probably should have asked Keefe after the game, but let's be real, there were way more pressing things at this point. And like, if the Devils were the one to leak this out, and I'm not going to blame them, or I'm not going to crap on them for something they haven't done, but like, that's a weird distraction. That's a weird way to try to distract from the matter at hand, which is things are not good. Let's see. I'm sorry, just looking to see which ones that I should go and look at. Lionel Hutz says, Isles season ticket holder here, was at the game. We have been on the receiving end of many games like this where it seems like everything just goes wrong. It stinks. Yeah, this one was a stinker for the Devils, so it's not great. The Ocho Cinco boy, good night, folks. Devils are cooked. They certainly seem it right now, Ocho Cinco boy. Don't blame you one bit for thinking that. Two more super chats. Thank you guys so much. The Beetle Boy 99. Can't believe I almost burned a PTO day to go to tonight's games. That's a better save than anything out of Markey tonight. Yeah, did Markstrom even? I mean, look, there were not many saves that Markstrom made tonight. I heard apparently somebody said on the broadcast a rare save from Markstrom tonight. So that's pretty. It's funny, but it's also pretty accurate commentary and fair commentary. And Markstrom just has been a mess this year too. Good on you for not burning that PTO. Although UBS Arena is always a good time, so even if you had a bad time, you could get some get some tasty beverages and get some tasty, delicious food here, which, by the way, they have the best press box food, not that you guys care, in the league. Rick Roma. Hallinan beat up Jack Guy and LeChance and Aminaho are playing well. Why do I still have to watch guys like Palat, who somehow at a -5 with... Wow, that is a crazy freaking stat. Palat was a -5 tonight with 9 minutes of ice time. That is... Like, there's been a lot of crazy stats in this stream. I feel like that's the most insane one. Yeah, look. My argument... Like I understand it's a slippery slope. I was talking to a former player about this the other day. It's a slippery slope if you... like bench a guy and like want them to move their no move clause. But a lot of these guys that have no move clauses, their benching would be warranted just by sheer play right now. Just by sheer play right now. You can't tell me that Dougie Hamilton shouldn't sit for a game or two. You can't tell me that Andre Palat hasn't deserved a benching or two at this point. Look, it hasn't been good, and you know, there were times where even like Xavier Perrant like provided us a little spark for this team this year. Maybe you just need to, like, I don't think Keefe operates like this, but maybe you just need to, you know, get different guys in the mix just to change a thing or two up. Guys, that will do it for today's stream. If you guys are not regular tuners in of this stream, please do. We do this after every single game. We'll do it so after the Pittsburgh game. Maybe I'll even be there. So if I'm there, Charlie Borges, if you guys are going to be at the Pittsburgh game, hit me up, and we'll go get some Permanti Bros after the game or something like that. We'll figure it out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe. And oh my God, we have one more super chat. Dime Season, I know you don't cover the G-Man, and he's just not a football guy, but can we get a Bobby Skinner Novo link up again? 100% Dime Season. That's going to happen at some point. We're going to do maybe like a live show somewhere. Maybe I'll go down to Florida or something like that and figure that out. But thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Have a great day. And bye-bye.